The night sky over Konoha was a tapestry of shattered stars, the once peaceful village now bathed in the eerie glow of a blood-red moon. The Uchiha clan stood united, their Sharingan eyes reflecting the ominous celestial body that had descended upon their world. At their head was Sasuke Uchiha, his Rinnegan pulsing with dark energy, his sword crackling with Chidori lightning. Beside him, Itachi's spectral form flickered, the legacy of the Uchiha's might manifesting even in death. The moon itself had become their enemy, no longer a distant orb but a living, breathing threat, its surface cracking open to reveal a monstrous eye, the will of Kaguya's remnants twisting it into a weapon. The conflict had begun with whispers, rumors of strange genjutsu affecting shinobi across the nations, dreams of an infinite Tsukiyomi that never faded upon waking. Sasuke, ever the investigator, had traced the disturbances to the moon, only to find it had been corrupted, its very essence reshaped by an ancient, vengeful chakra. Now, it loomed impossibly close, its gravitational pull warping the landscape, trees uprooting as the earth trembled. The Uchiha, long feared for their prowess, had no choice but to fight, not for conquest, but survival. The first strike came from the heavens. A beam of condensed chakra, white-hot and blinding, lanced down from the moon's eye. Sasuke reacted instantly, his Susanoo flaring to life, a towering, violet warrior of bone and muscle, its wings spreading to shield the clan. The beam struck, the impact sending shockwaves through the Susanoo's ribs, cracked spider webbing across its form. Sasuke gritted his teeth, his Rinnegan swirling as he absorbed part of the energy, redirecting it into his sword. With a roar, he slashed upward, a crescent of lightning splitting the sky, carving a molten scar across the moon's surface. But the moon was not so easily wounded. The scar healed instantly, flesh like tendrils of rock knitting together. From the crevices, countless figures emerged, pale, hollow-eyed replicas of fallen shinobi, their movements jerky, their eyes reflecting the same cursed glow. Zetsu clones, Itachi murmured, his own Susanoo materializing beside Sasuke's, a crimson specter wielding the Yata mirror. They're using the moon as a conduit for Kaguya's will. The battle erupted in chaos. Shisui Uchiha, the fastest of them all, blurred into motion, his body a streak of green as he weaved through the clones. His Mangekyō spun, Koto Amatsukami twisting the will of those it touched, but the clones were mindless, puppets of a greater force. Undeterred, he pivoted, his tanto flashing as he decapitated 3 in a single motion, their bodies dissolving into ash. Fugaku Uchiha, patriarch of the clan, stood firm, his great fireball technique igniting the air, a rolling inferno that swallowed dozens of clones whole. Yet for every one that fell, 2 more took its place. Madara Uchiha, resurrected through some unholy whim of the moon's will, descended like a comet, his perfect Susanoo cleaving through the battlefield. Pathetic, he scoffed as his blade bisected 100 clones in one swing. To think the Uchiha would be reduced to fighting shadows. But even he paused as the moon's eye dilated, a voice echoing in their minds, a voice that was Kaguya's and yet something more, something ravenous. "You are mine," it hissed. "Your eyes belong to the sky." Sasuke felt the pull, the moon's gravity intensifying, his feet leaving the ground. He countered with Amino Tejikara, swapping places with a clone mid-air, but the force was relentless. Itachi's Susanoo lashed out, the Totsuka blade sealing a chunk of the moon's flesh within its ethereal gourd, but the wound regenerated instantly. The clones kept coming, their numbers endless. Then, light. A golden flash, and suddenly Naruto Uzumaki was there, his Kurama avatar roaring as it slammed into the battlefield, tailed beast's chakra swirling around him. "Took you long enough," Sasuke muttered, though relief flickered beneath his tone. Naruto grinned, his eyes gleaming with Sage Mode's wisdom. Had to gather some backup. Behind him, the allied shinobi forces surged forward, their combined jutsu lighting up the night. The moon shuddered. The eye narrowed, and then, it attacked in earnest. The battlefield became a storm of light and fury, the Uchiha's flames clashing with celestial wrath, the very air burning with the heat of their defiance. The war for the sky had begun. The battlefield was a blur of motion and chaos as the Uchiha clan faced off against the moon's relentless forces. The sky burned with the clash of chakra, the air thick with the scent of ozone and scorched earth. Sasuke Uchiha, his Sharingan whirling into the Rinnegan, dashed forward, his blade humming with lightning. Above him, the moon's enigmatic leader, a being of pure celestial energy, hovered with an eerie calm, their silver eyes reflecting the carnage below. Sasuke's blade met a sudden barrier of condensed moonlight, sending sparks flying. He gritted his teeth, feeling the resistance. This wasn't just a shield, it was a counterforce designed to repel his attacks. Without hesitation, he flickered back, forming hand signs mid-air. Amaterasu. Black flames erupted toward the enemy, but the moon's leader merely waved a hand, dispersing the fire with a gust of frigid lunar wind. Nearby, Itachi Uchiha moved with lethal precision, his Susanoo a towering specter of crimson energy. He launched a volley of Yasaka Magatama, the spinning projectiles cutting through waves of moonlit warriors. But for every foe he felled, two more emerged from the shadows. "They're adapting," Itachi muttered, his eyes narrowing. The enemy wasn't just strong, they were learning, evolving mid-battle. Madara Uchiha, laughing wildly, carved through the battlefield like a storm, his perfect Susanoo cleaving the earth with every swing. "Is this all you have?" he roared, slamming his blade downward. The ground split, sending shockwaves that shattered the moon's front line. Yet, even as he dominated, a sudden force struck him from behind, an unseen attack, faster than light. Madara coughed blood, his body skidding across the battlefield. He looked up, grinning through the pain. Finally, a challenge. Sasuke, sensing the tide turning, activated his Rinnegan's full power. "We need to change tactics," he barked to Itachi and Madara. "They're predicting our moves. We hit them with something they can't anticipate." Itachi nodded, his Mangekyō spinning. "Illusions won't work on them, but raw power might." Madara cracked his knuckles. "Then let's give them power." The three Uchiha moved as one, a synchronized assault of overwhelming force. Sasuke teleported behind the moon's leader, his Chidori screaming in his palm, while Itachi and Madara flanked from either side, their Susanoo blades gleaming. The enemy raised both hands, summoning a sphere of condensed moonlight, but this time, the Uchiha were ready. "Now," Sasuke roared. In a flash, he swapped places with Madara using a Minotegakara, and the elder Uchiha's blade struck first, shattering the barrier. Itachi's Yasaka Magatama followed, piercing the enemy's defenses. Sasuke's Chidori slammed home, electricity coursing through their foe's body. For a moment, it seemed victory was theirs, until the moon's leader smiled. "You've grown stronger," they admitted, their voice echoing like distant thunder. "But so have I." Their body erupted in blinding light, a shockwave hurling the Uchiha back. The very air trembled as the enemy ascended, their form shifting into something monstrous, a true celestial entity. Sasuke panted, his vision blurring. This wasn't just a fight anymore, it was a war of survival. He locked eyes with Itachi and Madara, and in that moment, they understood. They had to go beyond their limits. Madara was the first to act. "Fine. Let's show them what the Uchiha are truly capable of." His Rinnegan glowed as he summoned the Geto statue, its monstrous form towering over the battlefield. Itachi, his Susanoo now cloaked in ethereal flames, prepared his most devastating technique. Sasuke, channeling every ounce of his chakra, felt his Rinnegan pulse. This ends now. The final clash was apocalyptic. The moon's leader unleashed a beam of pure lunar energy, a force capable of erasing existence itself. The Uchiha met it head-on, Madara's Geto statue absorbing the brunt, Itachi's flame searing through the residual energy, and Sasuke, with a thunderous roar, teleported behind the enemy once more. His blade, infused with the power of the six paths, plunged deep. The explosion that followed lit up the sky, a blinding inferno of chakra and moonlight. When the dust settled, the battlefield was silent. The Uchiha stood battered but unbroken, their enemy finally defeated. But as Sasuke collapsed to one knee, he sensed it, a flicker of energy, distant but growing. The moon wasn't done yet. The true war had only just begun. The sky burned crimson as the last remnants of the Uchiha's Susanoo clashed against the moon's celestial wrath, a cataclysmic shockwave ripping through the fractured battlefield. Sasuke's Rinnegan bled from overuse, his vision blurring as he barely dodged a searing beam of condensed chakra, Kaguya's final gambit. Naruto, his Kurama cloak flickering like a dying flame, lunged forward, Rasengan spiraling with the last of his strength. "Now, Sasuke," he roared. The air itself seemed to shatter as their attacks collided with the moon's core, reality bending under the force. Sakura's fists, wrapped in chakra-infused bandages, cratered the ground as she intercepted a falling meteor meant to crush their retreat. Her body screamed in protest, muscles tearing, but she gritted her teeth, she wouldn't fail them again. Above, Itachi's spectral form materialized briefly, his Mangekyō weaving an illusion strong enough to fracture Kaguya's focus for a split second. That was all they needed. The moon's surface cracked like glass, light erupting in blinding geysers as the seal finally took hold. Kaguya's scream echoed across dimensions, her form dissolving into chains of ancient scripture. But victory came at a cost. Naruto collapsed, his body scorched, Kurama's voice fading into whispers. Sasuke caught him, his own Sharingan dimming, the weight of their battle crashing down. "We did it," Naruto wheezed, grinning through bloodied teeth. Silence followed. The battlefield, once a hellscape of meteors and Amaterasu flames, lay still. The moon, now scarred and lifeless, drifted harmlessly in the sky. In the aftermath, alliances shifted. The Uchiha, once feared, were now hailed as saviors. Sasuke, exhausted but resolute, met the gaze of the surviving shinobi and nodded. No words were needed. The world had changed. Back in Konoha, the sun rose over a new era. Naruto, bandaged but alive, stood atop the Hokage monument, Sasuke at his side. "What now?" Sasuke asked, his voice quieter, tempered by loss and hard-won wisdom. Naruto smirked. "We rebuild. Together." And as the wind carried the scent of blooming sakura, the future stretched before them, no longer written in blood, but in hope.